Today, we're going to see just how much performance we can squeeze out of my Trident by upgrading it with the Monolith Gantry. If you've been looking to upgrade your own Voron, then you're definitely going to want to watch this one. So, what is the Monolith Gantry? Well, to quote the GitHub, Monolith is a performance-oriented, configurable gantry platform for Voron 3D printers. You can add the Monolith Gantry to a stock Voron Trident or Voron 2.4, and with it, you get a significantly shorter belt path, double shear support on the motor shafts, which in turn means significantly higher belt tensions. It also supports both stock 6mm and 9 and 10mm belts, and also gives you the option to upgrade to all-wheel drive. Altogether, this means that you can achieve some absolutely insane print speeds and accelerations with Monolith. But that's not what we're going to be doing today. You see, Monolith isn't a magic bullet. Those who are truly pushing performance to the max are also running 4040 frames, structural metal panels, custom SLM printed tool heads, 48 volt, and more. So this begs the question, how much of a performance gain can you expect if you run Monolith on a mostly stock Trident? Well, that, my friends, is what we're going to answer today. The plan is pretty simple. We're going to do input shaper testing on the stock Trident, upgrade it to Monolith, and run input shaping again. Let's see how the stock Trident performs. It's okay, I guess. On X, the main peak is just over 70 Hz, and the recommended acceleration is 14,900 mm per second squared. On Y, the main peak is just under 45 Hz, and the recommended acceleration is 5,800 mm per second squared. The question is, will this get better with Monolith? Originally, I purchased a 6mm belt Monolith kit from 3D Lab Tech for this video, but Meatface, the owner, saw what I was up to and offered to send me a 9mm kit as well. So I'm going to be using that. The kits come with all the hardware you need, as well as the belts themselves. They do make one substitution from the original bill of materials, but I'll talk about that a bit later. The exact configuration I'm going to be running is 2-wheel drive with 9mm belts, which is what's recommended for less rigid frames. With that, I think we're ready to disassemble the gantry after a quick message from today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by PCBWay. Whether you need a PCB, a custom CNC part, or a 3D printed prototype, PCBWay is a one-stop shop for all the manufacturing services you need. Lately, I've been using their laser cutting service to make parts for a future video. What really sets PCBWay apart is the sheer amount of services that they offer, all of which are backed by fast turnaround times and competitive prices. If you've got a project that requires custom parts, check out PCBWay using my link down below, and thanks again to PCBWay for supporting the channel. One of the reasons I've delayed upgrading this printer for so long was because of filament. For 9mm belts, the GitHub recommends fiber-filled ABS as an absolute minimum, and at least in Canada, it's very hard to find high-performance filament that matches the color scheme of my build. Luckily though, I've just been sent something that seems to fit the bill quite nicely. This is Torofil glass fiber filled PC-PBT. And as you can see, it comes in pink and purple. It comes in other colors too, but these were the ones I was most excited about. This filament is also the first fiber-filled PC-PBT available in North America. Now you can find this stuff in the EU from Toro 3D directly, in the US from Diode King Supply, and in Canada from Mass 3D. I've never tried this filament before, but I'm using it on both of my Monolith builds, and I'll report back with how it's held up over time. If you're interested in getting some of the filament, you can use the code MitsuMakes10 for 10% off during the month of August, and that goes for all 3 vendors. To use Monolith, you need to flip the Y-rails onto the side, and also add some extra M5 and M3 T-nuts to the frame. I like to just take the extrusions off the frame, add everything I need, and then reassemble the frame later. As a side note, I found that the T-nuts in the 3D Lab Tech kit didn't fit very well into these LDO extrusions, so I used my own T-nuts instead. The gantry is composed of 3 different parts. There are the front idlers, or front motor mounts if you're going all-wheel drive, the XY joints, and the rear motor mounts. Currently, there is an assembly manual for the XY joints, but for everything else you need to use the CAD. Thankfully, the front idlers are super simple. They can be assembled off the printer and then just slide right on after the fact. The motor mounts are a bit more complicated, but what I struggled with the most was actually dehubbing the pulleys. The 3D LabTech kit comes with these AF type pulleys you can see on the left, and Monolith uses these dehubbed pulleys on the right. People have reported that AF type pulleys can damage your belts, so I wanted to play it safe and use dehubbed pulleys instead. A dehubbed pulley is made by removing the hub off of one pulley and replacing it with the flange off another. This is supposed to be a fairly simple process, just using a printed tool. Removing the flange is easy enough, it pops off without much effort. The hub, on the other hand, I broke the tool. It wasn't just that tool that I broke either. I broke like 4 of them before I finally found a solution that worked for me, which was hitting them with a hammer. I'm not saying this is the best way to go about dehubbing, but it does definitely get the job done in a pinch. Unlike the front idlers, the rear motor mounts do need to be assembled in a specific order. I started by installing the bottom piece and sliding in the belt tensioner. I added an M3x6mm bolt into the bottom and an M3 nut into the top. I sandwiched the 2 pieces together with the live shaft idler assembly and then bolted them together. You can use the M3x6 to secure the motor to the bottom, but this is a bit finicky because you need to reach the Allen key through the M3 nut in the top. From there, you can add the double shear support for the motor and then add 3 M3x45mm bolts. And 1 more M3x6 goes into that M3 nut that we added earlier. Last but not least, you need 4 M5x16s to bolt the top motor mount to the frame. The other side works exactly the same, except the live shaft idler is flipped. The XY joints are definitely the most tedious part to assemble, so it's good that there's a proper assembly manual for them. In short, you mount one side, press in a pin with the bearing stack, add the live shaft idler at the back, and press on the other side. Sounds simple enough, but the real difficulty comes with accessing the screws on the second side that you install. There's no two ways about it, these are annoying to assemble. To keep everything consistent for my tests, I'm going to be using A4T on the Monolith build as well. There is a dedicated Monolith carriage that you can find on GitHub, and that's what you see here. I found it easier to route the belts through the Monolith motor mounts than those on a stock Voron, but harder through the XY joints. It's not too bad though. It's really not much different than any other Core XY. The tool head mounts directly onto the carriage, although I did notice something strange. Normally, A4T uses M3x50mm screws at the very bottom, but I found that with the Monolith carriage, they were slightly too long and were bottoming out on the probe mount. I fixed this by adding a couple of M3 washers to each of them. This looks a little bit weird, but it does get the job done. And there you have it, folks. That's the gantry conversion done. Now comes the real question. Did the input shaper results get better? Drum roll, please. Why, yes. Yes, they did. X has increased to 87 Hz with a recommended acceleration of 22,300. Y has increased to nearly 56 Hz with a new recommended acceleration of 9,200. It's worth noting that the Y graph isn't as clean looking as before. There are all these extra peaks here just to the right of the main one. I can't say anything for sure until I do more testing, but these are most likely caused by the tool head itself. With Monolith, the recommended accelerations on X have increased by 50%, and on Y, they've increased by 59%. That's a pretty sizable improvement over stock. Now, let's say you've been following along with this video, but you want to go even faster. What should you do next? You could upgrade the frame, upgrade your stepper drivers, you could go all-wheel drive, and you could upgrade the tool head. The question is, which ones should you upgrade first? Well, personally, I'd start with the tool head. If you really want to push performance, then you need a tool head that's well balanced, with the center of mass right on the rail carriage itself. Of course, you also need lots and lots of part cooling as well. I'd recommend tool heads like Trinity, which uses 2 3628 server fans for part cooling, or CPAP tool heads like Sphinx, UAP, and Dreadnought. If that's not enough for you, then I'd go and upgrade your frame. Building your frame out of bigger extrusions like 4040s will make it way stiffer, which is exactly what you need for all-wheel drive with 9 or 10mm belts. You can also look at getting structural metal panels, which you can bolt onto your frame for an added rigidity boost. Next up, stepper drivers. Assuming you're running something like 2209s, then upgrading to 2160s or 5160s can unlock a lot of extra performance. The motors I'm using, 2504s, are rated for 2.5 amps of current. With 2209s, I can only give them about 1.6, maybe 1.7 amps, so I'm not getting as much torque out of them as I could be. With better drivers, I could also run the motors at 48 volts for an even bigger speed boost. Last but certainly not least is all-wheel drive. Adding 2 extra motors will double the amount of torque that you have at your disposal and also have the effective belt length of the gantry. This is great, but it also adds a lot of complexity. You need to make sure that the motors are synchronized and aren't fighting with each other. Otherwise, you're going to have some problems. If you want to see me push this machine for even more performance, definitely let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.